Hello guys, and welcome back. In this session, we are going to be looking at something called Sprite Renderer, and then we'll start adding our scripts, C# script. We'll learn about something called the start and update methods. Okay, don't worry if you like that. I'm expecting you guys not to know about these, so don't worry about them just for the moment, and then we'll actually get to work on the movement, and that would be broken down to two videos. So we'll do part 1 in this video and part 2 in the next video. Okay, so first we'll learn about Sprite Renderer, and this topic goes back to where we left off actually in the previous video. So if I go back to my Unity, if you guys remember, we have dragged over the background. Okay, the background image from the assets folder. Okay. Now I deleted the assets folder that I downloaded. I just left the one that I imported from the assets store. Okay, but you can use either one of them. They would all have the exact same assets really. Anyways, going back to the first topic, which is something called Sprite Renderer. So if you click on the background that I have here, okay, so on your computer, if you click on it, you'd find on the right there's something called Sprite Renderer. Okay, something called Sprite Renderer. Now, this is something really cool, okay, and something really helpful. As you can see, this kind of allows us to change colors of our sprite. You can see there's a color box here. If you click on it, it allows you to change colors. As this has a default purplish, like really dark purple sort of color, you won't necessarily be able to change colors, but you can still see some of the difference. You can see how it changes to dark if you want it to be dark colored. Okay. So Sprite Renderer, the main reason I'm mentioning this here is because if you guys remember, just before I finished the previous video, I showed you guys what happens if I, let's say, drag in, let's say there's a blue circle. Okay, for example, let's say I want to drag in the blue circle, so I can place it here or in the hierarchy. Okay, so I just place it here or maybe there, wherever you want. I'm just gonna actually, yeah, just leave it here. You'd see the moment I try to drag it in. Actually, I'm not using a mouse. If you guys want, you can use a mouse. The moment if I drag it like onto the scene, okay, or on the or let's say in the camera view, you'd see it'll go behind. Okay, it's kind of like the background is covering the player, and obviously this is not something we want. Okay, we can change the positioning of the items in the hierarchy. So we have first main camera, then we have the background. If I drag the blue camera up here, okay, you can see it renders first, but still it doesn't really show you in the scene view. Okay, now this is something that you would be encountering quite a lot. Okay, you would want to actually have players or objects in front of one another. Okay, and to do that, we need to use the Sprite Renderer. Okay, so Sprite Renderer is really useful. Okay, so let's actually, I'm gonna delete this because I want my player to be on the screen actually. So I'm gonna just click on it and press delete, and I want my player to be this green square for this game. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag it in the hierarchy. Okay, and by default it places the character at 0, 0, 0 on the right, if you see. Okay, so I'll talk about this transform in a bit. But again, it's hidden, you can't really see it. So we need to work with the Sprite Renderer here. In particular, this option, the one that says order in layer. Okay, order in layer. Now this is what decides which character goes in front of others. Okay, in front of another. So make it 1. You can see how now you can see the green square. Okay, so this one, so 0. If I click on the background image, you can see this one has an order layer 0. And then order layer 1 would have green square. Okay, for this example, if you do 10 or any number more than 0, they would be painted afterwards, after whatever we have on 0. Okay, so I'm just going to leave my order layer here for the player to be 1. Now I don't really want my green square to be actually just called green square, because this is the one that I want to be my player. Okay, so I'm just going to rename it. So we'll right click on the green square and just name it, or select the option rename. Again, I'm doing it on the hierarchy. Okay, I'm going to rename it to player. You can rename it to whatever you want. One other thing, I do want it to be positioned around the bottom. So as you can see here at the top, if you're using a mouse, you can you should be able to move it directly. If you don't, or if you aren't using a mouse, you can click on this move tool at the top left, just next to the hand tool. Okay, and then it will give you the 2 arrows, as we have we're doing a 2D game, so we have 2 arrows. Okay, now it's quite big. I don't really like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change its size, and the size of the character can be changed using this scale property. Okay, again, on the right, under the transform, you have position, rotation, and scale. I'm going to change the scale to 0.5 to 0.5, which I'm pretty sure would still be pretty big. Okay, but for the moment, I'm just going to leave it to 0.5 because I do want you guys to be able to see on my screen, and I'm not quite sure how tiny it's going to come out if I make it the size that I actually initially did. So this is my character. I know it's quite big. You guys are okay to make it even smaller if you like. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to the scripting part. Okay, which is really exciting to me. So I'm gonna create a folder actually. So I'm gonna click on the assets file here. Okay. So under the project, I'm gonna click on assets. I'm gonna create a folder which would contain all of our scripts or codes, okay, because right now we can't really move the player or anything. Okay, so I'll right click here anywhere and then select the option create and then select the name folder. I'm gonna call it scripts. Okay, so all of our scripts, codes, okay, they would go inside this folder. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside the scripts folder and I'm going to create my movement script. Okay, movement script. So you're going to right click, select the option create, and then select the option C# script. Now here, don't press enter right away. Okay, we don't want it to be called new behavior. Okay, I'm going to press the delete button. Okay, and I'm going to call it movement. Okay, with capital M. I'm not going to explain much about the naming conventions and everything. If you just press enter, it should have the script created. If you have named it something else, okay, and you want to delete it, we can easily do that. You just click on it, okay, and then press delete. Okay, just in case you've named it something else. I'm gonna re-add it because obviously I didn't name it something else. I'm just gonna go with right click, create C# script, naming it movement. Okay, now we have installed Visual Studio during the installation video. So if you double click on it, it will open up the script folder. Okay, it'll open up the script folder. Not folder, this movement script. Okay, now when it opens, you'd see this is probably the very first time you'd be seeing a C# code, especially for the target audience that I'm targeting. Don't need to really worry about what we have here up at the top or what it says public class movement. This is the name of the script really. So we don't really need to worry about them. All we need to worry about or know about for the moment is actually 2 things. Okay, so these are the 2 things we want to know about. One of them is called start and the other one is called update. As you can see, especially in Visual Studio, it tells you that this function start runs when the game essentially starts, like the very first frame, okay, like the very first instance when the game starts. And update runs all the time. To be specific, runs per frame. Okay, so anything that we want to do all the time, we would need to add them inside the update code. I'm just going to start this code here today. I'm not going to finish on this part, okay, because this is the first time we're adding scripts, so I wanted to break it down. Now, don't need to worry about understanding what I'm going to type. As long as you have the code, you should be okay. Okay, I'm going to explain a bit more in the upcoming videos. For this one, I just want you guys to just have fun. So inside the update, okay, when I say inside, I mean between the brackets. Okay, so you have every function like the start, update or start date would have this opening curly bracket and this closing curly bracket. Okay, so when I say inside, I mean between the opening and closing bracket. Okay, now between the opening and closing bracket, we want to type up this code. Okay, I'm gonna go transform dot translate. Okay, transform translate round brackets. Okay, translate has a capital letter, capital T, so keep that in mind, and then semicolon. Now inside transform translate, so inside the round brackets you can make it move in any direction you want. So we're gonna just have fun with this script for the moment. So go ahead and type a vector 3. Okay, you just type a V, it should automatically suggest you vector 3. You can do vector 2 as well, it doesn't matter. We are essentially going to be using two what do you call it, two dimensions. Okay, but there is a possibility that this one would get angry if I just do vector 2. So I'm just going to go with vector 3. Okay, and dot, let's say let's use this option, right. Okay, vector 3 dot right. All right, again, we're just having fun with the script. We're just learning how we can attach one script to an object. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is just go ahead and press Control S if you're Windows and Command S if you're on Mac, and this star right here should go away when you do that, telling you that this script is saved. Okay, now this script is saved, however there won't be any sort of effect, okay, taking place in our game. So when I go back inside Unity, okay, and I want to click on it'll just I'll just tell you that the script is being loaded. Anyway, so I'm going to click on the player object now. Okay, player object. When I click on it, we'll have the transform, obviously. We'll have the sprite renderer. Okay, now I don't want to really see these two for the moment, so I'm going to just click on this triangle pointing down to collapse both transform and sprite renderer. And now I'm going to drag in this movement script. Okay, this movement script is under the scripts folder. So I'm going to hold it, left click, and just drag it and place it on the add component button, and it actually adds that script. Okay, so this is how you would add a script. Now, if you launch your game, you'd see, depending on how fast your computer is, you would see the object moving off the screen. Okay, I don't know if you can see that on my screen either, because I don't know how it's coming through. But yeah, depending on how fast your computer is, you should see that. You should see it moving. Okay. Now if I just remove the script for the moment, if I just click on the 3 dots here and remove component, we'll see this script goes away, the movement script. And if I launch, there won't be any sort of movement, because now the object doesn't know what to do. Compared to if I just drag the movement script, okay, what happens is when I play, all of these codes, okay, they start executing, and as we know, the update runs all the time, so it just makes my player go right all the time. Okay, now let's again have some fun. I'm gonna do vector 3 dot up. Okay, and hopefully you guys can guess. So let's save. I'm gonna go back inside Unity. Okay, if I launch, which I should be able to. There you go. Okay, you should be able to see the game object traveling upwards. And again, it comes down to how fast your computer is to see if you can see can see the character or not. Now, so this is how we would add scripts. Okay, attach those scripts to an object. Okay, and we have learnt about two basic methods: start and update. We're going to go into much more detail in the next video, and also we're going to make sense of the movement function so we can control our player the way we actually want them to be controlled. Okay, so see you guys in the next video.